and get me on a plane, and he flew with me to Genoa, and we then drove to the school. And after I got on board, I realized I'd been tricked a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
Well, he made the
This
school.
wasn't the school?
It was a school, but it was a very unique school that was unofficially designed for the children of wealthy politicians and business leaders in North America whose kids had somehow got mixed up with drugs or the wrong environment or with cult religions, to extricate them from their environment to help straighten them out.
So you were in the environment maybe where you belonged.
Well, that was my dad's hope.
But you didn't like it?
No, because I found out that it was something of a prison. You can't leave. They take away your passport, and they do put a healthy fear in you that if you get arrested in Turkey or Italy, some of these countries, there's nothing they can do. And so they really tried to control the behavior in your time. And after I realized what had happened, that really I had been sort of duped into going to this school where I was basically in prison. I mean, they had a lot of nice things. We did sail around the world, and they studied on the boat, but you didn't have any freedoms. You were a very controlled environment. I began to rebel, and I'd been living like an adult for at least 7 months, and
you've been off stealing on your own.
Yeah, I had my own apartment, my own job, a driver's license that said I was 18. Now I'm a kid back in school again. I just really.
How'd you get out of there?
Well, at first it was passive resistance. I didn't go to class. I didn't cooperate. And, in military school, if you misbehaved, they'd hit you. They'd beat you with a belt. But this school, they couldn't touch these kids. They were very exclusive families. So they said, you have to sit on they tried some kind of manipulation and peer pressure and made me sit on the floor during meals, and they wouldn't bring me food, and I had my friends smuggle me food. And so it became a battle, really, between the captain and I. Captain's sort of the principal. And I wouldn't stand watch. I wouldn't wash dishes. I just completely would not participate. Now I'm very religious because I'd gone into all these Eastern religions. I'm in my room meditating, and this school teaches atheism. So it was part of the curriculum that there is no God, because a lot of these families were getting their kids out of the Moonies and these different cults, and so they were showing films of Darwin and teaching atheism, and if you want to get ahead, you've got to believe in yourself. And I mean, it was very interesting. So I'm in my room playing my recorder and meditating, and pretty soon the captain said, look, Doug, you're ruining the morale of the whole school. Kids were saying, Batchelor's not washing the deck, he's not washing dishes, he's not standing watch. Why do we have to do it? So the captain said, what do I do to get you to cooperate with the program? Is there anything I can do? I said, if you let me go home for Christmas break, I'll be a model student. And the captain thought about it for a minute. He said, do we have a deal? I said, yeah, I'm giving you my word. And he walked over to a telephone, and now we're in Tunisia, Africa. And he called my father, woke him up, and said, Mr. Batchelor, we just wanted to let you know Doug's doing so well, we're going to let him come home for Christmas break. He said, now I've done my part, you do your part. And so I behaved myself. I went to all my classes. But something interesting happened between the time we left Tunisia, Africa, and before the Christmas break. The ship was sailing from northern Africa to Spain. This is winter time. It's right in the middle of winter, and it's a lot of storms. You can read about that in Paul. I went to the island of Malta, too, where Paul was shipwrecked in one of those storms in the Bible. And we encountered a very serious winter storm halfway across the Mediterranean. Now, you look at a map, the Mediterranean doesn't look too big. You can cover it with your thumb. But you get out in the middle of it, you realize it's a big ocean. And the water was very cold. And they told us that if we fell overboard, by the time they could turn around and find us, we'd probably be dead just from hypothermia. And water was coming in. These ships were made of steel, which makes you kind of nervous. The mainsail ripped. Everybody was seasick, including the captain. And people were really fearing for their lives. And I thought it was very interesting what atheists do when they think they're going to die.
What do they do?
They pray. And it comes very naturally. And I was right in there with them praying.
You were praying?
Oh, yeah. My prayers were very generic because I didn't know much about what the real God was. But I knew there was a God, and I was just saying, oh, Lord, God, if you would let me live And then you begin to apologize for all the sins you know are in your life. And it's interesting that even people who don't believe in God, they have a consciousness of what they're doing wrong, because they're making promises to God never to do it again if they get another chance.
I see.
So, obviously we survived the storm, and people pretty much forgot their prayers and promises. And I learned back then that fear is not the best motive to serve God.
Right.
It might be a starting point. But if fear is a motive, when the threat is gone, we often forget our promises. And that's what happened to me. We got to Spain. I got on an airplane. I ordered a pack of cigarettes and a beer, and I told the teachers, you're never going to see me again. Once they handed me my passport, I was very belligerent. And I never did go back. When I got to Florida, I went skiing. The family, Dad was so thrilled that we'd been doing well. He took the family snow skiing in Canada, Mount Gabriel, and as soon as I got home, when it was time to go back to this school, I ran away. And
is that when you headed for the cave?
Took off and went to Virginia to pick up one of these other millionaire sons. I'd been telling him all about the cave on the boat. And he said he was going with me, but when I got there, he chickened out. I lost all my money drinking and playing pool, and I'm by myself. I'm wearing just a thin windbreaker from Miami, Florida. It's the middle of winter. I get stuck in Oklahoma, and I was freezing to death. I'm out on the interstate, and the weather is below freezing, and I'm standing there for hours shaking. And every time a truck would go by, the wind chill would just be unbearable, because 3 seconds after the truck, I'd have to turn around and hunker over, because you get this blast from these semis. And I just became desperate, Don. I mean, it was the lowest point in my life. I'm sick from drinking. I have no money. I've wasted it all gambling. I'm freezing. I'm lonely. Too stubborn to call home and ask. I would rather die than do that. That was too hard. But I prayed. I said, Lord.
You did pray.
I knew there was a God. I couldn't figure out why so many things happened. I'd come so close to death so many times. I would pull up to a policeman in a stolen car and ask for directions so he'd chase us. I mean, I'm leaving a lot out. So I'd had so many close calls. I knew that there must be a God. And I said, Lord, I'm out on Interstate 40 in Oklahoma. And I said, please help me. I know I've been a rotten person. And I was. I mean, I'd steal a bicycle from a friend, paint it, sell it, steal it from him, and then sell it to another friend. And I just didn't care about anybody. I said, Lord, I know I've been a terrible, selfish person, but if you'd please help me, I'll try to serve you. I'll try and find out who you are. And I said, Lord, I need 4 things. I need
This is on the road in Oklahoma.
I'm on the road in Oklahoma. And I said, it was in my heart. I didn't even know how to pray. I said, please help me get a ride to where I'm going, to California. I still had 2,000 miles to go, or 1,500 miles. Please help me get some food. I'm starving. Help me get some money. I was broke. And I prayed for a ride with someone normal, because I often got picked up by people who were either drunk or high or had ulterior motives, and it's risky to hitchhike. And as soon as I finished praying, the next vehicle that came by stopped. I'd been there for hours. As soon as I finished praying, vehicle stopped, the white van, he picks me up. He takes me 2,000 miles to the door of where I'm going in California, in Palm Springs. Actually, first I went to my grandma's, and then I went to the cave. She lived right outside of Palm Springs. He drops me off. He gives me $40. I didn't ask for that. He feeds me all the way out. I didn't ask for that. And I also should mention, I did not ask for him to preach to me about Christianity all the way from Oklahoma to Palm Springs, California. He did that, and I had to listen to him or jump out of the car. So I listened to him, but still in my heart I thought the Bible's a fairy tale. Christians are hypocrites. And but God kept putting me in these situations where I kept colliding with Christianity. And, with my Jewish background, my mother raised me to be very cynical about Christians. They caused all the wars, and they persecuted our people. And so I was very suspicious of Christianity. But, I thought it was a collection of fables. But I listened to him. I thanked him. I got out, and then I realized God had answered all of my prayers. And about this time, I thought, well, I've tried everything else. Now I'm going to try and find God through nature. The only thing I can trust. I can't trust organized religion. I know God. I can see God in creation. It was so beautiful. And after getting out of New York City and seeing some of the country, I thought, God is in nature. I'm going to now find God.
So this is why you headed for the cave.
I'd also been reading some spiritual books about the